Hey everyone, it's Barbara with canonsovercoffee.com, and this right here is my dog Wally's raw dog food freezer. Now in this video, we're going to be looking at one specific cut of raw meat that's in here, and that will be raw liver for dogs. Now, I'll point out a few different livers that dogs can eat, and I'll also explain how much raw liver you need to feed your dog per day, and that includes raw liver for adult dogs and raw liver for puppies. Are you ready? Let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at Wally's raw dog food freezer and specifically the secreting organ drawer here. Like I said, we're going to be looking at 4 different livers, and those are going to be beef liver, deer liver, and rabbit liver, and then also duck liver. Those are 4 types of liver that my dog Wally can have. He can have a few other ones, but these are the 4 different ones that I currently have readily available here in the raw dog food freezer. And yep, we're going to be pulling them out and taking a closer look at them here in a moment. This is the beef liver, that's the deer liver, this is the duck liver, and this is the rabbit liver. And there's other animals whose livers you can feed and use for raw dog food meal prep. Now, you could, for example, feed calf liver as well, chicken liver, there's pork liver, ostrich liver, lamb liver, goat liver. There's a bunch of different raw livers from different animals that you can use. And I suggest that you source or feed as many livers from different animals as you can source, just because different animals have varying levels of nutrients. So I personally like to rotate the livers that I feed. And so speaking of nutrients, there's lots of minerals that you can find in raw liver, for example, copper, iron, phosphorus, potassium, and zinc. But what liver is most known for is its high vitamin A content. And do you want to take a quick guess as to which liver out of the 4 here on the cutting board is richest in vitamin A? I'll give you 3 seconds. And if you guessed the deer liver, then you would be correct, because that has around 16,000 micrograms of vitamin A per 100 grams, or 3 ounces. Followed by the duck liver. That one has around 12,000 micrograms of vitamin A per 100 grams, or 3 ounces. And then after that, we're going to drop way down to the beef liver. That one only has about 5,000 micrograms of vitamin A per 3 ounces, or 100 grams. And then the rabbit liver only has about 4,500 micrograms of vitamin A per 100 grams, or 3 ounces. And just in case you're curious, chicken liver only has about 3,300 micrograms of vitamin A per 100 grams, or 3 ounces, and lamb liver has almost as much as the deer liver. That one is at around 15,500. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm a bit of a raw dog food nerd as far as nutrient contents of different cuts of meat from different animals are concerned. I love nerding out about that, but you definitely don't have to do that if you're not super into that. Just know that different animals have different different nutrient profiles, and so as much as you can rotate between different animals, the more your dog is going to benefit. Okay, and so now if you're wondering how much liver your dog needs to eat in ounces per day, or in grams, depending on what you measure your dog's food in, here's how to do that math. So first of all, you're going to have to figure out how much raw dog food your dog needs to eat per day. And once you figure that out, it's really easy to just grab 5% of that, right? Or if you have a puppy, grab the 7%. So, and I do explain this in on my blog actually quite a bit. But so here it goes. So you grab your dog's target body weight and divide that by 100. And then you multiply it with 2.5. Now the 2.5 is a maintenance percentage that keeps your dog at their current weight. And that's the average maintenance percentage. Now, if your dog is pregnant, or if you have a working dog who uses a lot of energy, then you need to feed them at a higher maintenance percentage, and that can go up to 4% or even 5%. But the average adult dog is going to be fine with 2.5%. And if you think that your dog's a bit chunky, you can redo the math with a maintenance percentage of 2. All right, so let's just use a 60-pound dog as an example. So you would take the 60 pounds and divide them by 100, which is 0.6. Then you multiply that by 2.5, and the result is 1.5 pounds or 24 ounces. Now, of those 24 ounces, 5% is going to be fed in liver for an adult dog, that is, right? So 5% of 24 ounces is 1.2 ounces of liver. That's how much liver your 60-pound adult dog would need to eat. Now for puppies, it's a bit different. So like I said before, once you figured out how much raw dog food your dog needs to eat or your puppy needs to eat per day, you're going to want to grab 7% of that, and that's the amount of raw liver that your puppy needs. But the maintenance percentage is going to be very different from that of an adult dog. And I mean, it could be as high as 10%. And then once they're grown, once they're adult dogs and they're done growing, it's going to drop down to the 2.5% maintenance percentage. That's the average for adult grown dogs. But yeah, if you want to know a little bit more about that, if you need some help figuring out how much raw liver your puppy needs, drop a comment below in the comment section and just ask your question there, and we'll answer that. All right, and as far as where you can buy raw liver for your dog's raw dog food, well, the easiest and most convenient way is probably going to be your grocery store, right? Or from a local farm is another option. Walmart might be another option. Although your typical grocery store is only going to carry chicken liver, beef liver, and calf liver usually. If you want to get anything more exotic liver-wise, you're going to have to check out some ethnic grocery stores like Asian grocery stores or Mexican grocery stores, or you can go to raw dog food retailers that sell stuff online. For example, like Raw Paws Pet Food has a bunch of different raw livers for dogs, and so does Raw Feeding Miami. Another one that comes to mind is My Pet Carnivore, and then there's also, let's see, Hair Today would be another one that I can think of off the top of my head. Or you could certainly also contact a wildlife processor, or if you know a hunter, you could ask them if they're willing to part with the liver of a deer that they shot. So this is how I got this deer liver here. This is from a buck that my boyfriend shot. So yes, he's a hunter. And one thing I want to say about that, you do want to make sure that you freeze the deer liver for at least 3 weeks. Well, 3 weeks is enough to kill off parasites, but yeah, don't go ahead and feed the liver from a freshly shot deer to your dog right away without freezing it for 3 weeks. So make sure that you freeze it for 3 weeks to ensure that any parasites are killed off. And so when I do that, I usually just make sure that I label the container that I put the deer liver in, and I add the date when I put it in there. That way I know when it's safe to feed it, right? And by the way, I always label all my different containers because you think that you're going to remember what container holds what, and guess what? A week later, you will have forgotten. So now, as far as picky eaters, they sometimes have a tendency of not being a fan of eating raw liver. What you can do there is you can chop it up real small, or like just throw it in a food processor and mix it in with the other cuts of meat that they're eating, or you could put some into green tripe, or just add some bone broth, or mix it in with an egg, or just anything else that your dog really likes. So it's, yeah, like I said, it's best to just chop it up real fine or puree it and then mix it up with other meats. How long can you refrigerate raw liver for dogs? Well, the answer is in the freezer it lasts up to a full year, probably even a little longer. And then in the fridge, you can keep it up to 4 days, and then you can refreeze it if you want. So that concludes my little raw liver for dogs in raw feeding video here. I hope I answered all your questions. If you still have any that I didn't answer, feel free to drop them below in the comment section. I'll get to them for sure. Yeah, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I would love that. And subscribe to my YouTube channel for more raw dog food content, as well as some doggy lifestyle, dog exercise, and doggy travel adventures as well. See you soon.